WNYathletics.com would like to thank today's sponsors. Howard Hanna Real Estate Services. Ready to sell your home? Visit howardhanna.com today. Howard Hanna. Home happens here. Western New York Immediate Care. With 4 convenient locations in the Buffalo area. Amherst, Buffalo, Depew, Lancaster, and Orchard Park. Western New York Immediate Care is now offering telemedicine services to provide you care anytime, anywhere. Visit WNY Immediate Care on-site or virtually at WNYimmediatecare.com. Logistics Plus Buffalo is your go-to resource for all your transportation needs. LP moves freight of all shapes and sizes all across the world. Call LP Buffalo today at 716-877-9653 or email buffalo@logisticsplus.com. AdPro Sports. AdPro is the largest team sports dealers and brand merchandise providers in the nation. For a variety of custom merchandise solutions, from apparel to promotional items, visit adprosports.com. Empire Electric. For all your home, business, or office electrical needs, call Empire Electric at 716-634-0330. Free estimates and financing available for all customers. Empire Electric. Call 716-634-0330. Good morning, high school sports fans. Welcome to WNY Athletics High School Sports Saturday. I'm Frank Wolf, alongside Tom Prince and the lovely and talented Francis Beck, producing the show. A little bit out of the spotlight for now. Oh, there he is. He throws himself back up there real quick. We're on St. Patrick's Day post-game type show. Would you call it that?
Well, today's the parade, so you kind of got to say it's like a 2-day thing, right?
I thought we were supposed to have a float this year.
I was not in charge
Now,
of
that would be a scary float. I'll tell you that right now.
Maybe next year. We should think about doing a float at some of these parades.
Listen, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, with all the work you guys do.
We could start building one out here in the back, over here in the parking lot. We got spots for it. Let's go.
Well, I thank you all for joining us. It's been a couple of weeks since I was able to join you guys. Tom, I know you've been out too, and France has been carrying the load for us, so thank you very much to Mr. Beck. What a job you guys did, though, for the last month covering the Winter High School playoffs, live stream and all, as many games as you guys did. My hat's off to you, Western New York community. Hats off to these guys for everything they did. How many basketball games did you officially do? It was up in the high 40s.
I counted everything. It was 67 total between basketball and hockey that we did.
Okay.
So, you know what I mean? I want to say basketball.
That include the Monsignor Martins, too?
Yes. I want to say basketball was 47 or 48 of those is what it was.
Yeah.
And a lot, like I said, was because, when we go to Buff State, in 2 days is 10 games right there, and then another Saturday was another 5. That's 15 games in three of the weekend days right there that we experienced.
And then you have that week where we were literally out at 4 sites a night, including 3 at Buff State in that mix.
Yeah, it was the boys were at Buff State, the girls were at Sweet Home, Will North, and Ken West, right?
And JCC.
And JCC.
And JCC, sorry.
Yeah, the boys
and
were at
JCC.
JCC too, yeah.
The boys had a couple games there, too, yeah. That's by the way, Buff State, they're very good to us, and they were really good to us. Your location for shooting games, you guys are really able to do that almost seamlessly. There were no hiccups in terms of buffering. Remember how, previous years people would call and complain that, our stream's going down, and it's not Ethernet there. There's no Ethernet. You're at the mercy of the Wi-Fi there to some degree.
Even to 100% degree.
Which our hotspots are some of the best you can get, and even they couldn't stay connected. So good job on keeping those streams going so that they didn't go down. There weren't any hiccups. The games were great. The games were pretty good. I mean, they weren't – I don't want to say that the games necessarily were great. There were some good, really good games.
I think during the week, were the better games. Maybe the weekends were –
No, I think it was a little bit of both. It was kind of smattering. Like, remember, it kicked it off. The first game of the there was – phenomenal, and then you'd go, you kind of roll a roller coaster there of up and down of games, and I do want to thank Brent over at Buffalo State because he was absolutely phenomenal for us and made it unbelievably easy for us to be able to really do what we did. It really was something amazing that was there to watch. And we're actually going to get a chance to cover his daughter. Ready for this one? His daughter just made varsity as a freshman over at Frontier.
Oh.
She's a catcher. Here's the kicker. She's a lefty. You don't see it much there, and we're going to get a chance to see her at one of these games that are coming up.
Very cool. Very cool. There's a lot of things. We're taking a little bit of a break from the streaming right now.
Well, there are
as
really
a whole,
any games going on. Yeah.
Correct.
No, well, next week we're going to.
Yeah, this weekend, Tom and Francis, you guys know what's going on. Most of Western New York that follow high school basketball know that this Friday and Saturday, Friday at McKinley and Saturday at McKinley, what do they call it? The Silver City Classic?
Yeah, Silver Hoops Classic.
Silver
and I think
Hoops
they
Classic?
added the girls new this year.
Yeah.
Girls will be Friday and the boys are Saturday.
I want to say this is the old Butler Mitchell that
It's
Bobby
before-
Carnevale and those guys put this together every year. You can't wear your team's jerseys per se.
I think you do for this one.
Do they for this
That's
one?
the other one they can't wear them.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. This is a Section 6 sanctioned
Okay.
one,
Okay.
right?
All right.
So last year we had a couple of them that were going on, and some of them were not sanctioned by
Yes.
Section 6. So this
It's
is
not
a
because
sanctioned one.
the section doesn't want to, folks. There's a misconception there. It's not. A lot of people, why don't they let them do that? You can only play so many games. Otherwise, you could lose your whole season. You can lose your eligibility for the following season. Things of that comes into play. So you got to be very careful when you start throwing stones at the section. I know a lot of people have been throwing the stones at the section left and right for whatever reason. But this is one thing that is out of their hands. It's an
state
eligibility
rule.
thing. Yeah, it's state. So what a great. I don't know what the games are just yet.
I think
who's where.
I know
NFL
there's two
versus.
there's two girls games which they're doing it. I think a gold and a silver. I don't know how they're splitting up the teams and the games. And then Saturday is going to be they have like ECIC 3 and 4 against the Yale Cup 2, and
Okay.
like Yale Cup 1 against ECIC 1 and 2, and then NFL versus private.
So either way, next Friday and Saturday we'll be carrying those games. I don't know if they'll be on NFHS just yet, or if we'll be able to throw them on our regular networks for you to see. But either way, if you have an NFHS account, you should be able to turn into the Panama Girls right now. Panama Girls in action, semifinals right now. They're out there. What is it? The Hudson Valley Community Center in Troy, New York, I believe is where they are right now. Francis, are you giving us a live look?
No, this isn't a live look. This isn't for people. You're still seeing the screen right now, guys, at home. But I'm going to try to pull up, see where they are in this game, and we can take a live look. And of course, Randolph won yesterday, pretty big.
Yeah, the boys.
The boys. Carson Connolly, he had a game. He just hit threes from pretty much everywhere.
Well, that's just it. Randolph is good and as solid as they are. And let's remember, those kids have been playing together since they were in third grade.
Actually, to me, there's something very unique about that team that we haven't seen this year in Western New York. It's the only team to me that went on, and I said this when we started previewing all the sectional final games, and that is, or when I went on, remember that podcast over at Rochester?
Yeah.
I said this truly may be the team that really could go on because they were the only team on the boys' side that I felt had the presence inside and had the guard play to add to it. Yeah. It was something that was comboed that we didn't see everywhere in West New York. Not that Niagara Falls wasn't good, right? Not that Amherst wasn't good, right? But if you noticed, think about last year, the couple teams that, like when Amherst advanced, they had three guys that were 6'8", yes. Right? And then plus you had Nick Moore on there. You had the guard play and the bigs. You need that recipe usually to advance on to usually these things.
And you know what? And we mentioned the team that we're bringing in later, Fredonia. They kind of had that. They were a little bit more balanced than maybe some other teams.
Well, they were different because of the balance, really, is what it is. They had four guys that were in double digits in scoring out there. And very few teams have that. Normally it's 2 or 3 guys, but they had 4, and one of their 4 guys really came up big this year because his biggest game came in the section championships. Everybody said it. They were like, oh, my God, it was his best game that he's had so far. So no doubt these teams that we were talking about, I do believe you've got to have a two-way presence, and we had it there, I thought, with Randolph.
All right, why don't we pull it up here? You can hear a little bit of the audio. This is from the NFHS network, of course. It looks like Panama's down. Panama girls are down 4-2 to Hammond early in this semifinal. They're at Hudson Valley Community College. So
that is one of the nicest community colleges, though, that you've got to admit that you've seen for basketball.
Jake Fyack and I were out here
last year.
I think it was Sherman.
Yep.
That was still alive at the time, and you see Maddie Brink there, and they have some really good guard play at Panama. Maddie Brink obviously is the main story there, but I think it's also number one. Handles the ball pretty well. 1 and 3, obviously. I forgive me for not knowing Maddie Brink's number off the top of my head here.
Maddie's 2, I think it is.
2? I think there's a number 3 there. Girl wears number 3 or number 1 that also handles the ball, that takes a little bit of pressure off of Maddie Brink, and she can handle the ball pretty well too. Good luck to those girls as they're battling right now for a chance to win a state title.
I think Randolph plays later. I want to say they are
11 or noon somewhere.
I want to say 12:30.
Yeah. Now if you have
Randolph boys, of course, are going to be playing at 5:15 in the Class C final.
Yeah, I seen Randolph play. The boys team play about 5 times this year. And I actually saw them lose to Salamanca. That was a great game. That was where they gave Herrick, retired his jersey, Andy Herrick, who's done playing at Salamanca. Great career he had there. A couple of things, guys. We'll be talking a little bit more about this girls basketball game that's going on right now at Hudson Valley. But real quick, we want to thank our sponsors: Western New York Immediate Care, Logistics Plus of Buffalo, and Empire Electric. Thank you very much for contributing to the show and letting us do what we do here on a Saturday morning to give high school sports fans another perspective. We did this for years on WGR Inside High School Sports. They canceled that show for whatever reason, so we're trying to fill the void right here. If you can share this with your friends, it's a little easier probably to watch and hear. You can watch it at home. You want to wake up to these beautiful mugs on a Saturday morning. That's fine. I know Tom was out late last night because we were celebrating one of our own's 32nd birthday for Big Mario Hall. You see Mario, he's at Buff State, and he's our main camera guy. You see him on the field. He's getting in the huddles. He's getting in the officials' faces with the camera, and no unapologetically, right? He gets in there. He does a great job. And he's one of the best, and we love Mario. We had a great time with him last night. He was looking good.
You don't hear many times.
There's that picture. That's that picture right there. That's the one you were talking about. Isn't that? That's
the one of the Buffalo News said. Yeah.
Oh no, I think I'm from Channel 7.
Is that where it was?
Maybe not. Okay, yeah. I apologize. Yeah.
So he's and his mother. Actually, his birthday's today, right?
That's what I was just gonna say. How many times do you hear you got a mother and son have the same birthday?
Yeah, pretty cool. Oh, look at that. Yeah, Mario's our main man. We had a good time with him last night. His mother, their family have the Rose restaurant, Rose Bar and Grill, which is actually downtown, right across from Hofbräu House, in between Hofbräu House and
at the Fairmont
casino.
Creamery.
Yes. And what'd you have yesterday? We had the Bang Bang shrimp.
Oh, the Bang Bang shrimp. Yeah.
Oh, I could go for another dish of that. That was good. The fries were good. The drinks were flowing. And this is a high school show, so when you kids are old enough, maybe you'll head on down to the Rose and enjoy a spirit. Everyone got home safe last night. We drank responsibly and enjoyed a nice evening and talked shop. While we were there, the football schedule was shared with us, which we put on our website. So if you go to WNYathletics.com, you will be able to see the first look at the high school football schedule. Now, I know it's on your screen right now. You may not be able to see it too well there, but if you want to get a better look at the schedule, weeks 1 through 8. Now, this is the public school schedule. We don't have the full Monsignor Martin yet, but the public school schedule, anyways, is on our website. It was shared on Facebook a couple hundred times along with Twitter. And can you put that on Instagram now, too? Are you guys doing Instagram?
Yeah, it's
on
Instagram.
All right. Just checking. But the whole schedule is there for you to see, and a few of the top games that, the state champion Bennett, that'll open up on Saturday, September 2nd at Lockport. So we'll get our first look at the 2023-24 Bennett team at Lockport.
Baldwinsville has Section 3, which we told you guys a few weeks ago. They're coming to Jamestown. A couple other games that weekend.
That's been a home and home. Remember, they played the Dome a couple years ago is when they played those two teams. Baldwinsville is a powerhouse that comes out of the Syracuse area, no doubt about it.
And just, in case people didn't hear, Health Sciences, they were merged with West New York Maritime. They are no longer merged. Health Sciences is going to open up the season at Starpoint. They're with Global. Now, we also learned last night.
Yeah, we learned something big, yep.
Tom, why don't you tell people what we learned last night about Health Sciences and where they're going to play their games?
So we learned last night that Health Sciences / Global Concepts, right?
There may be a third school, actually.
Okay. So as what we know, those two at this point will be playing their home games at Buff State is where they're going to play their home games. So, huge on a ton of fronts, right? Now you're bringing some big games to a college settings. They're going to play these games Friday night under the lights. You know what I mean? I can't tell you that the last time Health Sciences had a game under the lights that was considered a home game for them.
I don't think they ever have.
Right.
All their home games were at Johnny B. Wiley on Saturdays.
Which was,
they had one at ECC South. Obviously, that field is gone.
And think about it. We literally would play there, Johnny B. Wiley, we'd be there 2 o'clock in the afternoon to do a playoff game is when we were doing them. So this is a really big opportunity right here, I think, on just so many fronts that you're going to get more players playing in the college atmosphere, home and away teams that are going to be there. And for us, boy, what a press box we get to go do some of these games, right? Because we already know how good of a place it is to do games. Yeah. I just think it's a win-win. So many different things for Health Sciences and the Western New York community.
And Western New York Maritime Tapestry is going to have their home field. It's going to be, they have a facility out at Tapestry.
A turf one, too. A very nice turf field.
With grass. I don't think there's a press box there and too many stands, but I think they're trying to work on it. But, they have a facility ready to go. We ran into a couple of the coaches from that Maritime Tapestry team. They're excited to get things started with that new program. Yeah. And I guess I would say... I guess the way it was kind of explained to us is, different people had different philosophies and how they wanted to move forward, and I think both sides are happy with what they're doing. And
listen, these two are on a collision course, right? I can't wait because there's a good chance with one in the B1, one in the B3 division that if they come out of their divisions, they could see a collision course into the playoffs.
And to be honest and clear about that, those are two. It's a good story that they're splitting up. There's good
schools, yeah.
Yeah, because you're adding another team here. So that's the positive more than anything. You're getting another school. You're getting away from having to have 4 or 5 teams combined to make one. Now you're getting big enough where you can actually form a second team out of there. So that's a nice little story coming out of there too. It's a positive twist, if you will. And Glenn Mullenich, the head coach of Maritime now, leading that program. He's a good guy, former collegiate football player who was with UB and all that. So, Glenn's a good man. He's going to get his shot to be a head coach, and Ty is one of the best. Of course, we don't have to go into how good he's been over the years.
3 sectional titles.
Yeah, it's tough to argue with what he's done, so they'll be fine. A couple other games have popped out of me in that week 1 schedule, and we won't go past there. Maybe in a couple weeks we'll really dive into this. Maybe we'll bring in a couple of football gurus to really dissect this schedule. But you got, I thought it was interesting, Williamsville East opening up at Sweet Home. You've got the Mike Torillo, who coached at Sweet Home forever, the head coach at Williamsville East, going to Sweet Home. He's been there a bunch before, but I think it's pretty cool. I like to see when you see like an old coach come back to his old stomping grounds. I think the Hamburg at McKinley game is going to be a war at the beginning of the year. That could be a tough one. Lakeshore and Dunkirk go at it week 1 again. Remember last year you guys did that one?
We did that one. That was a Thursday night game that kicked off. Was a great game.
And another game, Southwestern is going to be at CSP, and then on Saturday, that's a Saturday game, but also those 2 games at Brockport, which we talked about earlier. CBA out of Syracuse, Section 3, going to play South Park at Brockport, and then after that, you got CNS out of Section 3 also playing West Seneca West at Brockport. Now, guys, you go through this schedule.
And by the way, both these teams are playing up divisions there.
Yeah.
CNS is a double-A school playing an A school, West Seneca West. And CBA Syracuse is also considered a double-A, right, that also will play A, playing South Park. Those are going to be an interesting games right there.
Week 1, the schedule begins on Friday. There is Thursday night games coming back again this year. They will start on week 2. But week 1, there are no Thursday games to talk about. That's about the extent we could talk about the schedule at this point.
I think Clarence Frontier is a big game there, that one. Right, you look at Maryville, Cleve Hill. That's a rivalry game right there to kick things off. Week 1,
they played at week 1.
You know, there's these games are loaded. Week 1 here. I think we're going to see a lot of fantastic matchups.
Cheektowaga, they always play each other tough.
Yeah.
How about Randolph-Fredonia even?
Yeah.
You know, there's really some great games here. Week 1, we're really going to struggle to pick, games that we can really broadcast.
We'll have to see. Luck of the draw on that front. Just to start the football season, though, the Connolly Cup this is their 50th year. Okay. So they are going to be doing a 50th anniversary celebration. It will kick off the high school football season on Wednesday, the 26th of July. July 26th. From 3 to 7 out at Fontana's Grove in West Seneca. They're inviting all the past winners, nominees, friends of the Connolly Cup, supporters of high school football in general. Anybody really can go to this thing. And it should be a pretty good party. I know Joe Licata is on board as a guest speaker, a previous Connolly Cup winner. But it's $30 a person. Early bird special if you can get in there before July 1st. Tickets will not be available at the door. You want to register, you can go to ConnollyCup50th@gmail.com. That's ConnollyCup50th@gmail.com. And WNY Athletics, we're kind of helping putting that together in terms of registration, all that sort of thing. So if you have a question, you can reach out to us.
Can we put that on our social media stuff?
Yeah. Okay. We're going to share this thing out there. I'll get it to Francis. I wanted to get it before the show, but I was a little slow because Mario had me out too late. But any questions, ConnollyCup50th@gmail.com. And again, the date is Wednesday, July 26th from 3 to 7, 50th anniversary celebration of the Connolly Cup. Now, that Friday night, we'll be back at Buff State for the Lions Club game.
I was thinking in my head, it better not be the Lions Club night. And then I remember they moved it to Friday.
Yep. Senior All-Star game for the boys at 7, but
they're going to do the girls' flag football senior game before then.
Their kickoff is scheduled, I believe, for 5 or 5:30 for the girls. They're going to play 2 halves, running clock.
Well, I think that's kind of what their rules are. So, funny enough, I actually the other day I talked to Marissa Daria, who's the chairman of Section 6 girls' flag football. And if you haven't heard, they have nearly doubled the amount of teams. We have 27 in Section 6. There's over, I think, 140 in the state, and I think Section 6 has the most.
Is that enough for a state championship?
Next year, they're going to do the state championship.
And they got a ton of money from the NFL to really get this thing going because it's something that they really want to push.
Monsignor Martin trying, too, also.
You heard Mount St. Mary's. It looks like they're trying to make a push. That's really taken off this year. I think their first games are the 15th. We're going to try to get out to more of those. There even is a small possibility they're going to have their championship game at Highmark Stadium. Mm-hmm. So we'll have to watch out for that. I know girls' flag football is something I'm trying to get the trade on more. I know we did a couple games last year. I think we need to do some more because I think this sport is going to really take off here in across New York State, and I want to make sure we're on the Section 6 and Western New York Athletics is on the leading edge of that.
I do, to just piggyback on that comment right there, it will be interesting to see what happens to some of the other sports.
No doubt.
You know what I mean?
Well, they are letting girls do both of them. They are being very
When you say both of them, they can play multiple sports.
Yeah, multiple sports. There's I'm going to be going to Sweet Home, and most of them are going to be, a lot of them are going to be doing 2 sports. Lauren Hubert is going to be doing travel volleyball. He's a couple of, softball players.
Travel volleyball?
Yeah, but travel volleyball isn't part of Sweet Home.
But but a lot of the girls last year, they did dual sports where...
Well, the question is going to be what happens to lacrosse and softball.
They're allowing them to do both.
I get that, but there's also going to be schedule conflicts. There's also going to be things that come into play down the road.
I mean...
And you see that...
I think kind of the way they work that out is there's a lot of Saturday morning games. So we're still
Saturday morning lacrosse.
No, Saturday
flag
morning
football.
flag football
Yes.
games.
Okay. When do they kick their season off? They're 2 weeks from today?
I think they have some non-league games, I think, in about 2 weeks, but their league schedule really is going to be the 15th.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I don't know what's going on out there, but
I drove to a whiteout on the way here.
Normally,
it's fine now, but it was like a whiteout when I drove in.
Normally, you get to St. Patrick's Day. Right around there is when it's the end of it. So that must have been the last whiteout you're going to see.
I don't know.
Did you see your tail this week or your shadow?
Oh, I don't pay attention to that. No, we're in for one more. We're in for one. We're always in for one more.
It's usually St. Patrick's Day, right around St. Patrick's Day.
We've gotten a lot of April storms too.
Yeah, I must have been out of town. So, a couple of our birthdays going on today. Michael Toludo, a Connolly Cup guy. You want to send a happy birthday out to him. And then Pat Nagy of the Amherst Bee. You guys, happy birthday to you. And, of course, Mario Hall, the big guy from WNY Athletics. Happy birthday to him as well. We're going to come back in just a few moments. And we're
Take a look at that Panama game.
Take a look at that Panama game. And I got something I want to bring up and talk about that caught my eye late last night that I want to rip into. I want to have a moment. So we'll come back after a commercial break. You're watching WNY Athletics High School Sports Saturday. We'll be back after a word from our sponsors.
Sometimes it just isn't your day. We all need a little help from time to time. That's why we're committed to providing safe, quick, and cost-effective care. And we keep it simple. Just walk in. We're here for you. Learn more today.
Do you insure a lot of businesses?
Yes, we do.
How about restaurants?
We got a bunch.
Do you cover property damage?
Yes, we do.
How about my equipment?
Covered.
How about sewer backup?
We got it.
What if my cook gets hurt?
They're covered.
Foodborne illnesses?
Covered.
What if my party tent goes down?
Covered under property damage.
And you say this is all under one policy?
One policy.
When do I pay?
Once a month.
Just one time?
Just one.
Is there anything you don't cover?
What's your record for consecutive questions asked?
31.
Tables. We don't do tables.
Gotta love Buffalo.
For all your insurance questions, call the Wolf at 835-WOLF.
We realize now more than ever is the perfect time to have the perfect house. We're confident we'll find your dream home. Howard Hanna. Home happens here.
All right, welcome back. Let's take a live look in at the Panama Panthers in the Class D semifinal. You can see down in this one right now, 34-23 late in the first half.
And they look a little bit undersized here, guys, looking at it. They got some big girls up on the perimeter there. This Red Devils team that Panama's facing, they don't have big guards. I mean, there's Maddie right there, and she's a great player, great touch. But the girl guarding her easily looks like she's got 3 to 4 inches, dare I say, on her.
Two.
That's not her right there. I don't think that's Maddie.
That's who just hit that 3.
Okay. I should know who that is, right?
Anyways, you were just there.
We gave her an award.
I can't get into. Well, I can't get into the website.
Okay. That's an IT. It's usually user error. When you can't log into something that everyone else gets in, I'm told by people it's always a user error. What were you trying to get to?
Section 6 girls basketball.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, okay. Well, so right now, Panama girls find themselves down 10 to Hammond in the Class D girls semifinal game out there in Hudson Valley. And you can tell we're not doing that because of the graphics being used. Tim Gardner, who does our graphics, it's one of the best, as you see week in, week out with the work he does. All right, guys. Getting back into the show, something caught my eye earlier this past week, and I got some emails and phone calls from people reaching out to WNY Athletics about youth sports. We're big at high school. We're a high school sports website, but, Tom, all of the work you did over the years with Western New York, Southtown's baseball, and I'm sure you still have your connections. You never lose your
100%.
connections.
Yep.
And they call you and tell you things that are going on. You know what's going on in that what's going on in youth baseball, and I still have my finger on the pulse of what's going on in my community. And some parents sent me a number of parents sent me some messages about youth hockey. Now, there's a big misconception sometimes, maybe with youth sports. You've got your travel teams and your AAUs and all that, and then you have house leagues. Now, I grew up in house leagues. I coached in house leagues. House league players, it doesn't cost a whole lot to play house. This house leagues is for getting the kid acclimated to the sport, making it fun, making it enjoyable, teaching him the fundamentals. It's not supposed to be a lot of pressure, okay? Not supposed to be a lot of pressure on the house leagues. I know there are house leagues that will put together a travel team. They'll go and they'll take the top players from the house league and they'll form a travel league. And that's a little bit more pressure on the kid. Good pressure, not, it's
I'm not even going to say good pressure all the time, but I mean, it's
depending
a
on
different
the
pressure.
age.
Yeah.
It's a little different. Hey, and the parents know going into a travel season, if you will, that, hey, the best players are going to play, and you're just going to have to live with that. That's comes along with playing travel AAU. And your son may not be a starter, maybe a six-man. When we get down to the nitty-gritty, when we're playing for a championship, there's a chance your kid may not see the floor. There's a chance your kid may not see much action. You know that going in when you're playing travel in AAU. And if you don't like the politics of it, you could take your money and go set another travel team. When you're playing house, there's probably a draft, and you just you go where you go. You don't really have a say. Unless you have a brother on the team, they match up with the brother of the family, so you don't have to take 30 cars to 30 different fields, whatever. When you have the house leagues, there are some coaches you read about that treat it a little different. They try to make it like the travel, like the AU. And such is the case this past week. And I wish it was an isolated incident, but it isn't. It goes on too much, and you got to call this out. I got a message early in the week that there was a youth hockey championship game in the town of Tonawanda, House League, last Tuesday night. The coach puts out, to start the game, 2 lines, 6 forwards, and 4 defensemen. There's like 20-something kids on the team. Before the game, they're in the locker room, revving everybody up. Yeah, guys, let's get them. Biggest game of our lives. 7, 8, 9 years old. Biggest game of your life. Spare me with that crap. Biggest game of your life at 9 years old. Anyways, they go out there. Line change. All right, we're getting up. No, you're not going out there. Sit down. Joey's line, you're out there. Jimmy's line. Back to Joey's line. Jimmy's line. Joey's line. Then you start shrinking from your 6 forwards down to like 3. These other kids never get on the ice. They get out for warm-ups. That's it. They sit on the bench the whole game. In house league, championship, playoffs, whatever. In house league, you got 20 kids dressed and you play 13 or 14 of them? You should not be coaching. I'm sorry. Not at house league. Go coach a travel team. I know we're hurting for coaches. We're hurting for officials. You want to ruin a kid? You want to turn a kid off from a sport? Dress him up, march him out to the bench, and don't let him on the ice. You want to take the love out of the game of a kid? Sit him on the bench at 8, 9 years old for an entire game in a freezing rink to watch 4 or 5 other kids celebrate a championship that you didn't play any part in. You want to ruin a kid? You want to turn a kid off from a sport? That coach just did it. I will be at the next Town of Tonawanda board meeting making sure this coach is brought up and probably should never coach again in the house league. Go to travel. What this guy did to those kids, to me, is unforgivable. I'm sorry. I'm off my soapbox.
No, listen.
I've had it with that stuff.
The problem is it's a soapbox that is proudly joined by a lot of people, right?
That's the sad thing, Tom.
Listen, when I did the South Towns Travel League, as everybody knows, for baseball, I actually had to build in rules to make sure that kids got into games, right? At least that they played half the game.
Yeah.
right? I had rules that were built in to stop. The problem is you start making rules and start doing things because of that coach right there.
Yes.
It's not 90% of the coaches that want to do the right thing. It's the 10%, the 5%, the 2%, whatever number you want to use.
Everybody wants to win.
Yep.
Right? Everybody wants to win, but at what cost? Now this kid, this 7-8-year-old kid that sat on the bench for this entire game, he may never want to come back. Not only that, he may have brothers that were there, and that parent sees this behavior. He may not want to ever say. He may say, "To hell with this. I'm not putting my next kid in line through that stuff." If I was a parent at that ice rink, I would have been thrown in jail.
Well,
At the end of that game. I
I'm
would have
sure
been
there
thrown
were
in
people
jail.
screaming. I'm sure
I know
there were people screaming.
They're
and yelling.
emailing me.
Yeah.
I never even heard of some of these people before.
Because
They're asking
they're
WNY
angry.
Athletics to do these stories. Well, there you go. I made a public knowledge. We made a public knowledge. Now it's out there. If you're doing this in house league, stop. You're not helping anybody. You're hurting the kid. This is an ego-driven move, nothing else. We all want to win. It's great. It's fun. But at the end of the day, that losing team, they still got the pizza party, right? Those kids, yeah, they're going to remember they lost. But they're also going to remember what a great time they had playing with their friends. That's all it is.
Can I tell a story?
Yeah.
I used to love coaching house baseball. I still coached house baseball even when I had travel and all-stars and all the things that were out there, right? But I always had a rule in house, and I told all my parents this. Every kid will get an opportunity to pitch, and every kid will get an opportunity to play at least 2 innings in the infield, somewhere in the infield, third base, first, second, whatever. So, and the parents loved that because they knew at least their kid was going to get some moment out there. You know what I mean? That was fair
Give
to
them the
them,
moment.
right? So there was this young man at the time who's now actually in the Marines. Like, this kid is just unbelievable what he's turned out to be. But he had these big Coke bottle glasses that came out about this far. Like, yeah, they were real big. I said, "Okay, Dalton, it's your turn to pitch." And he looks at me, he comes over, he goes, "Coach, you sure? Because I suck." Is what he does, right? And I go, "Dalton, it's your turn to pitch. I always do this, and you're going to get your moment, right?" First pitch goes up into the top of the screen. Second pitch doesn't even make the plate. The third pitch goes behind the batter, but hits the bat. So it goes behind the batter, but hits the bat. So it's a strike. Everybody on the sidelines was going ballistic, right? It was just an amazing moment. And that young man now still comes up to me and talks about, that time that we were playing there. And us, our banter back and forth. And, look at the young man that he is now, right? I mean, he is just an unbelievable young man now leading our country. Just give them their moment. It's house. Like, a house championship, really? Is that the trophy you're worried about getting inside your inside your award kit? Because
that trophy's going to the guy's house. No kid. You're not going to be able to pass it around house to house.
Right. I mean, come on. Let's be honest. Where it's going, it's absolutely ridiculous.
And I mean, I coached house league baseball for a number of years, and I have kids that come up to me at these places, these bars, and they'll come up with a beer, and I have no idea who I'm talking to, and he's like, "You coached me baseball, yeah." I'm like,
it's more or less.
And I used to say,
you got to listen for the name more than the kid because they're so different. They look completely different.
I always say, "Listen, I apologize for ruining your baseball career." But look at how you've grown up. But there's no more better joy really when one of these kids that you coached when they were so young, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, whatever, turn out to be really good kids, and you can have an adult conversation with them and so on and so forth. And that's the best thing for me. And I'm sure it happens to you. And Francis, when you start coaching sports one day, then you'll realize. But you get these kids even with high school sports with what we do, WNY Athletics. These kids come up to us at games 5 years after graduation, and they're saying, "Yeah, you guys are still doing this. It's awesome. Yeah, you guys were there when I was there." And So that we'll continue to do that. Did you guys have anything else that you wanted to bring up? Like, what was your Buff State moment? I wanted to ask you, Tom, because you were there for a majority of the games. What was your Buff State moment, boys or girls, over the last 2 weeks?
How about I give you a boys one and a girls one?
Yeah.
Okay. My boys one had to be when Robinson of Niagara Falls goes down the middle of that lane and just puts one down. It erupted an arena. I mean, it was just crazy, that dunk. Whether it didn't look as much on the replays or whatever, when you watch this kid cut down the lane, I was in awe when that thing went down. I mean, it really was. It was just something to watch. It was like a professional dunk when you saw it live happen.
Yeah.
I
was watching.
That
8-minute delay, but I was watching.
That was something. That really was. That was number one. And then for the girls' side, I really got to say it was Clara Strack inside the game against Will South when she just took her game to another level. There's one thing to be able to say, like, I want the ball, right? There was just a different tone in that game where she demanded the ball, right? And if it wasn't going to go to her, you knew there were going to be consequences in essence.
I mean, she literally at one point beat a triple team.
Yeah. I mean, she just was you would watch her get to the top of the key, right? Right, the 3-point line, and then you saw the second gear all of a sudden kick in for her to get to her position down low, get the ball, and it was going up in the basket. Yeah. It was something to watch. I mean, it was one of the best games I've ever witnessed her play. And
that was her day.
Oh, it really was.
That was her day because, she hadn't been able to get over that hump. No. Gretchen Dolan and Will South has owned them at Buff State. For her to have that moment, good for her. And look, Gretchen's an awesome player. Gretchen's going to Illinois. She's had her moments at Buff State. But it was good to see another girl have that kind of moment. And for Hamburg, too.
Oh, yeah.
Who had been bridesmaids, right?
Yeah.
Year after year there to finally get that win. Will South had their moment. Hamburg finally got theirs, and I think that was great to see for the sport.
I also love the interview that Francis did at halftime. And actually, he brings Coach over, and Coach goes, "You don't understand what Clara was doing during the week to the buildup of this game. She's sending text messages to her teammates. She's sending inspirational messages. She's taking leadership in the huddles. Like, you were seeing a leader, right, a captain, really be a captain out there and a leader and then bring it to the floor. It just, to me, was an unbelievable story to listen to what Clara Strack was doing as far as Hamburg was concerned.
How about you, Francis? What was your moment over the last couple of weeks while you were at Buff State or wherever you were? Because you bounced around.
Yeah, my moment actually came at Williamsville North, and I'm going to make a note to the Buffalo Public Schools community. Bennett, of course, you have a lot to be proud of. Bennett football winning a state title, but you should be just as proud of the South Park Sparks girls basketball team. They faced Star Point, I think it was in the A2 semis. It was a rough one. They took care of business in their league, but, they were just playing against a different level of team in that one. I think they only scored 7 points in that first quarter. They were down by 20-30 at halftime. But this team never quit. There was no bad attitude. In fact, when they came out for halftime, they were all smiles. They were jumping around, and they knew they weren't moving on, but they were like, this, for many of them, they were seniors. It was the last time all together, and they were like, we're going to make the most of this moment. They were jumping around. They were pumped for that second half. They knew they weren't going to win the game, but they were excited for that one, and there was no frustration, there was no quit. They played hard the whole time. That team showed a lot of character, and I don't want that story to be lost this year. I think that was one of the best stories of the week that didn't really get noticed was South Park and the way that they played in against Star Point.
And why is that?
You know why that.
Why is that? Go ahead, say it, because it's the truth.
Yeah.
Why is it?
Because Coach Nick Todaro.
That's exactly why. And if you look at all the comments that came through on anything with South Park, every one of these families and young women would say, we have got an incredible coach right here. And coach led us down that path. You don't come out of halftime like that unless coach sets you up to come out of halftime like that. Or the leaders on the court set up to come out like that. That's why, right? And I give him a ton of credit, right? Look at what he's done with the Maryville football team. Remember the year before he took over, Maryville wasn't in the best of shapes as far as the program goes.
But they were in games that previously you would have thought they have no business being in this game, and that's because down to coaching. And I'll tell you what, there was another team, not to get off the South Park story, we're talking about what Nick did with his team. I'll tell you, you want to know another football team last year that got a lot of praise from coaches for the way they competed from the first snap of the game through the end, even though they were losing a lot of games? Kenmore East. A number of coaches, including Tim Delaney in South Park, came up to it and said, I'm going to tell you something. The Kenmore East team might not have been very good as a whole. Like but they battled. They were not easy to play against. Yeah, we were winning, but it didn't come easily. Like they really had to work. They're a very physical team, and that's what good coaching does. They take a team that may not have all the weapons, but they get the kids to believe in themselves, and they find ways to be competitive. We might not, if we're going to win this game, it's going to be close, it's going to be ugly, all those things. Kind of like the way, it's kind of the way some of those basketball teams played at Buff State.
Fredonia?
Bake's team.
Yeah,
Brian Bake's team, Wilson.
Slowed the game.
They slowed the game down. They were supposed to get rolled by Randolph. They were supposed to get murdered. They hung in there.
Oh.
They made a game of it. So that's what good coaching does. They put your players in position to win, and you get the most out of the kids. And you got to get them to believe in themselves. Great story out of South Park with the girls. Niagara Falls and Hamburg, of course. Hockey-wise, we did a number of games. I really like what's going on with the Fed. I think it was disappointing that we didn't have two teams play for a state championship. It made it for a longer weekend for us because we do the whole. You want to have a couple teams there. Disappointing that we didn't, but I'll tell you, our large and small schools beat the living daylights out of each other week after week, night after night. Niagara Wheatfield, Star Point,
Will East.
Even, honestly, Kenmore East.
Yeah.
Kenmore West. Any one of those teams could have made it there. It just didn't happen. That Skaneateles team was crazy. They were phenomenal. The Skaneateles team actually has a St. Joe's connection. The kid, Gaglione, who had the game-winning goal in the semifinal, his father and his brothers are all Kenmore boys. They went to St. Joe's. So it was cool at least to see that Western New York twist play a factor.
Some of these teams are real young on the hockey side. Like we're going to see that. I'm talking about the local ones.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like there are definitely some teams that are very young that we're going to see them play out.
Looking forward to it. I know that the Fredonia boys basketball team's going to be in studio, so why don't we take a quick break? We'll bring in Coach Nick Bertrando, and then we'll start talking to some of these other guys. I believe Ethan Fry and Jay Hawk are here, so we'll bring them on in just a little bit. It's going to take about a 3 to 5 minute commercial break. We'll be back with the Fredonia basketball team after a word from our sponsor. You're watching WNY Athletics High School Sports Saturday.
Western New York Immediate Care's new locations are now open. Whether you've suffered a minor injury or just aren't feeling well, Western New York Immediate Care provides safe, quick, high-quality care at an affordable cost. Our clinicians are trained to diagnose and treat non-life-threatening injuries and illnesses and are equipped with on-site x-ray and labs to help you feel better, faster. With 4 convenient locations open 7 days a week, Western New York Immediate Care is here to help when and where you need us. Visit us online to learn more.
When it's time to sell your home, start with a visit to howardhanna.com, ranked the #1 real estate site for sellers. A few clicks will show you the sales price you can expect for your home. We can get you the most money in the quickest amount of time because we know where the local buyers are and how to reach them. So if it's time to sell your home, visit howardhanna.com today, and we'll match you with a local Howard Hanna agent to sell your home fast.
I love being home.
If
If you've been injured in an auto accident, large or small, call 681-4088. RES Physical Medicine and Rehab right away. If you are in pain or just sore, don't take chances. Call RES today and take advantage of their 24 to 48-hour appointment pledge. With no copays, RES will help navigate the confusing world of no-fault insurance with you, so you can concentrate on getting better. 681-4088. RES Physical Medicine and Rehab. The most important call you can make after an auto accident.
300 Level Media is a locally owned and operated, multi-purpose media company right here in Western New York. You'll find us everywhere, covering the Bills, Sabres, the Utes, Bisons, Big Four basketball, local college sports, and much more. Our staff offers a variety of media services, from video production, live event coverage, audio broadcasts, professional voiceovers, camera operation, and videography. Visit www.300levelmedia.com or give us a call at 716-427-2600. This is 300 Level Media.
Do you insure a lot of businesses?
Yes, we do.
How about restaurants?
We got a bunch.
Do you cover property damage?
Yes, we do.
How about my equipment?
Covered.
How about sewer backup?
We got it.
What if my cook gets hurt?
They're covered.
Foodborne illnesses?
Covered.
What if my party tent goes down?
Covered under property damage.
And you say this is all under one policy?
One policy.
When do I pay?
Once a month.
Just one time?
Just one.
Is there anything you don't cover?
What's your record for consecutive questions asked?
31.
Tables. We don't do tables.
Gotta love Buffalo.
For all your insurance questions, call the Wolf at 835-WOLF.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA, with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics. Call our Buffalo office today for an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs.
When it's time to sell your home, start with a visit to howardhanna.com. Ranked the #1 real estate site for sellers. We can get you the most money in the quickest amount of time because we know where the local buyers are and how to reach them. Get started today at howardhanna.com.
Call 835-WOLF. Remember, you calling the Wolf. That's all you had to say. Call today.
Sometimes it just isn't your day. We all need a little help from time to time. That's why we're committed to providing safe, quick, and cost-effective care. And we keep it simple. Just walk in. We're here for you. Learn more today.
Welcome back. West New York Athletics High School Sports Saturday. We're about to welcome in some members of the Fredonia Hillbillies boys basketball team. We're just getting everything set up right now, so we'll take a short break and we'll be right back with Coach and then later some of the players. You're watching High School Sports Saturday on WNY Athletics. Is this your...
With exclusive buyer insights and our 100% money-back guarantee, we're confident we'll find buyers for your home. Howard Hanna. Home happens here.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA, with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics. Call our Buffalo office today for an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs.
Sometimes it just isn't your day. We all need a little help from time to time. That's why we're committed to providing safe, quick, and cost-effective pediatric care. And we keep it simple. Just walk in. We're here for you. Learn more today.
Welcome back. Another live look in from Hudson Valley Community College. Fredonia still down in this one. I think their deficit has grown a little bit. We're about to see the score right after this replay. 50-33 right now. Panama's down to Hammond in the Class D girls semifinals. That one late in the third quarter. So hopefully they can have a quick turnaround. You know, Randolph girls is coming up, I think, 12:30. And the Randolph boys made it yesterday to the state final. So that Chase championship game is at 5:15. Those games all on the NFHS network, just like all of the Section 6 playoffs. But Frank, I'm gonna in a second here, as soon as I can move my cursor, I'll move it over to you. Introduce us to our next guest.
So, Francis, we have Coach Nick Bertrando. Am I saying it right? Bertrando?
Bertrando, yep.
Okay, Bertrando. Were you out for St. Patrick's Day yesterday?
I was not. I'm not Irish. But.
That's all
but
right.
Wait,
that's
didn't
all right.
all the schools? Oh, no, that was only Erie County they had off.
Oh,
we had in service yesterday.
Okay.
Okay. So, Coach Bertrando, Fredonia boys high school basketball coach. 5th year as coach there, done a very good job over the years. Last year you had Nick Whitfield, big guy, dunking left and right, and took you guys on a pretty decent run. You lose him this year, and somehow your team maybe got even better. Just talk about the season. Obviously, we know how things ended. You guys had, no matter what, at the end of the day, Fredonia had an unforgettable season. A lot of highs, a couple lows, but way more highs. And I think you guys brought, when I grew up listening to some of my uncles talk about the Dunkirk-Fredonia rival and all that, they always talked about Fredonia basketball. But they hadn't talked about it as much as they did these last few years. They're starting to really bug me about it again, how good Fredonia's getting as a... I knew the football program was good. The baseball program was very good. But now that basketball program is starting to come back to life. I want to get into what you've been doing to create that culture. But this season, again, a lot of highs, some lows. How did your team get better this season as opposed to last year when you had like an all-league player?
Yeah. First off, we appreciate you for having us here and for all the coverage that you guys take care of with
it's
all
easy.
the sports. I don't know how easy it is, but you guys definitely make it look easy.
Thank you.
But, to be honest with you, I'm honored and humbled to be able to carry on the Fredonia basketball tradition. There's been a lot of people before me that have laid the groundwork. And for me to be able to carry on that tradition, I do not take that with a grain of salt. I'm very appreciative of that. And we've got some really good kids, As far as this season goes, yeah, you look at us on paper and there's a couple names that you recognize, but for the most part, people would say, oh, well, you had Nick Whitfield, and before that you had Tyler Putney, and, you got Ethan Fry coming back this year, but then the rest of them, there wasn't a whole lot of familiarity, but that was kind of the nice thing about this team. On any given night, if you wanted to focus on one or the other, we had another guy step up, and just that balance, not only scoring, but the balanced attack and the team approach, the team mindset on the defensive and offensive end to share the ball is what really made this team special and stand out.
I want to give a shout out to Braden Carmen and Greg Larson,
Yep.
WDOE. Those two guys do a very good job covering that neck of the woods for us or for them. But, we feed off of what they're doing and helps bring us up to speed on what's going on with those programs down there. Shout out to those guys, good friends of the program. This season in particular, and we'll get into the whole program as a whole and what you've got going on behind the scenes to get this program, that spearhead getting this program in the right direction. But this year, Salamanca had your number in the regular season, close, tight, tough games. You get them back at Buff State. Talk about playing a team for the third time in a season, knowing that you're going into a hostile territory at Buff State. Nobody's there. Everyone's there, right? It's a sellout.
Right.
You got two teams coming in. They look at Fredonia. They've already lost twice to this team. How do you get your team up for that game, knowing you've already lost twice to them, and they got a pretty tough lineup as it is, as you know, very well coached.
Correct. Yeah.
How do you approach that game?
There's always a level of familiarity when somebody's in your league, and I have the utmost respect for Coach Bennett and what he's been able to establish down there, and Salamanca is. They're great. I mean, top to bottom, they had guys that can put the ball in the basket. They defend super well. For our guys, it was the opportunity to play them a third time and know that the first time we went down there and we did not play well. And that was all to do with Salamanca. They played extremely well. At home, it was a little closer, but we couldn't catch them. And we said, if we get the opportunity for a third time, anything's possible. And especially at Buff State, kind of riding that momentum that we had started to establish through the playoffs, really beating a lot of quality teams. didn't hurt that we shot the ball extremely well early on, and we limited some of Salamanca's looks, and they didn't shoot the ball well. But, to beat a team that was consistently ranked throughout the state, and just with the caliber of players they have and the caliber of coaching, I was extremely proud of these young men.
Good. And it was fun. They were a fun team to watch, too.
Yeah.
Carrying on with that, your league, was it the Salamanca games? Was it the Olean games? Allegheny Limestone? It looked like any one of those teams could advance. You guys did. What was it during the season, or what did you see during the season that really got your team believing that they could walk out of Buff State as the Section 6 champion?
I think it goes back to the summer.
Okay.
Once the summer hits, you kind of get an idea of what you're going to have. And we had a pretty good summer, with the different things that we did, the different team camps, the different summer leagues we played in. I said, there's some potential here. And you always kind of know what's coming back, but to see it start to come together over the summer was really nice. And, the success that the football team had, I think that had a lot to do with kind of the winning tradition. And, once you kind of get a taste of that, you know what it takes to get there. But to be honest with you, I mean, our league is our league. It for the second straight year, and I know Chad Andrews tweeted this out last year, but we were the only league, once again, that every single one of our teams won a playoff game. And our non-league schedule, too. We really look at a non-league schedule along with our league schedule, to really test to see where we're at, to iron out some of those issues. And ultimately, whether or not we come away with a victory, there's always an opportunity to kind of take something away from that. And, our non-league schedule with our league schedule, I think, really set us up for what we were going to face and what we needed to expect once the playoffs hit.
Talk about your barn, the atmosphere inside there. I've been coming down to Fredonia to catch a couple of those games the last few years, but Dunkirk comes over the tracks, if you will. That place, you can't get a seat.
Yeah.
Just talk about that rivalry and just the other bigger games that you guys host. And talk about a couple of the other gyms that you go into that you're like, I know I'm the opposing team, but this is amazing what's going on here. Talk about some of those other places.
First off, the gym that we play in is the original gym. And they've made some updates and some modifications, but those old gyms that are tight and where it's just loud and intense is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And a shout out goes to our student section, our fan base, not only at home but on the road. Without them, proverbially the sixth man, your 12th man in football, but just to have them on your side, your support, not only during the regular season, but even when we went to Buff State and we went to Gates Chili last weekend, we had a phenomenal turnout. But to kind of parallel back to your question, for those of you that have never been to a Dunkirk-Fredonia game, I know there's North Tonawanda, Depew, Lancaster, other rivalries, but this one is still true to the rivalry and the nature, and the atmosphere is absolutely electric. I always tell my guys that there's not a lot of athletes who get to experience this with the different mergers and just kind of how everything is televised now. I said, this is part of something special. This is 100 years worth of competitive banter between two very proud communities, really good programs. And to have that is really special and something that they can look back on and feel that they're part of. But
I've only hit one Fredonia Dunkirk football game, unfortunately, just one in my time, because rivalry week, I like to spread it out. It's week 8 or week 7, whatever it was. I like to get to a few different ones. I still never been to Lancaster Depew, and the games haven't been competitive in a while. Your football game is still competitive at times with Dunkirk. The basketball game, though, that crowd was crazy.
Home and away. Yeah. Home and away. And
into it.
It's kind of it was really nice scheduling wise, because I almost felt like our league schedule, it kind of prepared us for the next team that we were going to face, and not just from personnel standpoint, but also what we were going to face once we stepped into that gym.
Yes.
I mean, the nice thing about our league too is that because it is so competitive, everybody comes out to these games, and to be able to play in those type of environments when it's loud, when it's just so energized, that obviously fuels the fire, but at the same time, it really makes it a special moment for these athletes that they can look back upon, because I feel every single gym that we played in, there was a great crowd from both sides, and it made it it made it a really, really fun atmosphere.
You're a Westfield guy, graduated from Westfield, but as a coach of Fredonia, I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. What's the gym and Buff State doesn't count. Is there another gym in your league or non-league that you've stepped into that said, this is an unbelievable atmosphere, I could come here every year and play, or I'm already going there every year and play, and can't wait to get there? Is there another gym like that you like going into that you would you want to mention, or do you want to mention too?
Yeah, I think the newest rivalry with Fredonia is definitely Southwestern, and there's been some real, not only competitive, but just student section games where it's a fun atmosphere. And like I said before, for these guys to be able to play in that type of atmosphere and to get to enjoy that and experience it, it's something special that they're going to remember for a long, long time.
Well, we'd like to come down and stream a game at Fredonia, but you guys already have a TV crew. In fact, Shannon Davis is here today, so I got to see if I can weasel in there somehow and weasel him out, but I don't want to take it away from him. But we definitely want to catch a game, and obviously we did the Buff State game, but that's not enough. We definitely like to get a chance to come down there because we don't have the right facility at the Orange Bowl to stream a game there. It's it is what it is. One day, maybe, who knows? But we definitely would like to get down to Fredonia and do a game inside your barn.
Love to have you.
So we're looking forward to that. Talk about behind the scenes now.
Sure.
What goes into this program? What do you have going on behind the scenes to get these guys ready for high school ball?
Like most programs, it's 365 days. And it's not, obviously full tilt 365 days, but we do a lot of off-season stuff, and we're very fortunate to have, multi-sport athletes where, they're being able to be trained in other sports, which is going to help them for our sport, or it's going to help them for any other sport that they participate in. One of the coolest things I think we do as a program, the boys and girls team, once January starts, we've kind of commandeered the rec program, and we split up all the boys, JV, and girls basketball athletes, and they actually coach the youth of Fredonia. And we have half down at the primary school for the really younger kids with the lower baskets, and then we kind of have the middle school up at the high school. And that, to be honest with you, it's one of those really special things because you see the connections that are being made, from the present athletes to the future Billies. And that, along with our summer camps, it really helps us to, kind of get prepared for the gauntlet of not only our league, but then also for the non-league schedule and then the very, competitive playoff schedule that we play.
The summer camp you run, do you have dates for that already?
It's going to be end of June for the girls' camp. First week in July we'll probably go July 5th through the 8th, only because the 4th of July is on Tuesday. Then the week after that, we run a Gym Rats camp, which is for 4 to 9-year-olds. And that's a half-day camp. And that's really just a fun camp to really introduce these young kids to the game of basketball. And going back to the rec program, our athletes are the coaches. And I think that's what makes it special because they build that bond, they build that connection. And these kids, they want to come and see these kids play.
Yeah.
And that's the nice thing about being from a smaller community is it's really a community family type atmosphere. And it helps to establish the culture of the program.
Your girls' camp, if that's going to run 5 days, is that open to girls all over? Like you could bring in Panama girls or Westfield girls or girls that go to different schools. It's not just for Fredonia, obviously.
Correct. And we've had really good success. I would say last year we had 70-plus girls. A lot of them were from Fredonia, but we had a lot from the surrounding areas. We actually had some from PA who have connections or family up this way. And it's just really awesome opportunity for them, to further their game in the summer, and for us to be able to kind of share what we know about basketball and hopefully give them a passion to pursue.
Very nice. Does Coach Bongiovanni step in anymore? Do you know Coach Bongiovanni? I'm sure you do.
Coach Bonge, yeah.
Does
Him
he?
and Paul Ketty, yeah.
Yeah. Does he? Because I got cut from basketball every year I tried out. All right, no shame in that. But I would go to the Fredonia State basketball camp. I was there for 4 straight years, maybe 5. And I remember Coach Bongiovanni, and I hadn't seen him since like 92, 93, 94. To see him at Buff State was pretty cool. And I said, listen, you didn't ruin my basketball career. It wasn't you, it was me. But it was fun talking to see, because I saw a lot of the coaches that were at that Fredonia State camp. But it's good to see that they're still part of the program and cheering you guys on, and you guys have been very successful. This year was nothing short of amazing. We know how things ended. Controversy. What could you say to your kids after what went down? A game that you guys, a lot of people say clearly should have won, should have never happened. Stuff happens. I've seen a lot of things go completely off the rails to hurt. A team lost under unprecedented situation or just silliness. You can't get that moment back. You guys probably right now should be playing in Glens Falls. Unfortunately, you're sitting here with me. You had to drive 45, 50 miles to Amherst. You should have been in Glens Falls. What do you say? What have you said to your kids? How have you guys you guys have handled it great. You guys have really handled it really well. But I got to imagine 24 hours, the first 24 hours had to be tough.
Yeah.
Not just for the kids, but you as a coach too. Just talk about how things ended, if you want.
Sure.
And how do you guys go from here? Because this was an incredible team that, to me, was robbed of an opportunity to play for a state title.
So first off, I'm not avoiding your question, but I do want to throw a shout out to not only Coach Paul-Caddy, but also Coach Bongiovanni, who they've been there every step of the way. And I was very fortunate my first year teaching at Fredonia, their last year coaching, to be an assistant on their staff, and just really kind of get immersed within what Fredonia basketball is all about. And one of the coolest things is every year we do a retro game. And we actually break out. We still have the uniforms from the 94 teams, so the kids love putting them on because the shorts, and everything are still in great shape. But I always make a point for our athletes to know who these guys are. As they establish the groundwork, they've established where the program is and why it's in that position. And I always have them kind of do the pregame talk when we do the retro game, when it's around Christmas and everybody's back and they're there. And it's just a really special event. And I've been very happy and felt very supported by those two throughout everything, win, loss, draw, with what's happened. So, yeah, they're an integral part of the program, even though they haven't coached in a while. But to go back to last weekend, it was tough. And a flood of emotions. You go from, man, we just won this game, to now what's going to happen, to obviously now we got to go to overtime and then the end result. And, walking down that back hall to the locker room to see these guys, you've got a million things going through your mind, but you're also figuring out how you're going to address what just happened. And it really comes back to what we stress all the time, that we point thumbs, we don't point fingers, in the sense that things are going to happen. Mistakes are going to happen. But we've got to own up to our mistakes as well. And as they told the guys, they said, we point thumbs, we don't point fingers. There was a multitude of events that we maybe could have done better on both sides of the ball to not be in that position. And I pass out every year when we do our team retreat this attitude mantra. And within that attitude mantra is life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% how you deal with it. And as much as last weekend was gut-wrenching and heartbreaking, that holds true. How do we move forward from here? Because you're right, Frank. I would love to be not talking with you right now or talking with you in Glens Falls at the moment, but this is what the situation is. And, I really felt for those guys because it was a special team, and a special group of individuals who were very unselfish, a special group of individuals who really played to each other's strengths. And as I mentioned at the beginning, on any given night, somebody else was going to step up. Somebody else was going to be able to kind of carry the load or shoulder the load and get us to where we needed to be.
That's why I really wanted to bring you guys on today, to give you guys, just get it off your chest, and maybe this will help with getting on to the next task at hand. You brought two special athletes in here today, and Jayhawk and Ethan Fry, who not only learned how to win on the football field, but they transcended to the basketball court. And we're going to have Tom Prince bring them in and talk with them, and you might as well hang out with them too. and you could say, hey, don't answer that. But I was really proud of the way you guys did everything this year. Excellent program. So we're big fans of what you guys got going on down there.
That.
And I got to tell you, I thought I love all the guys. Keegan's one of my favorites, Keegan Whitfield, just because being the younger brother of an athlete, I know how hard it is on a kid to try and live up to your older brother. The way he played throughout the year, he was an integral part of the team.
For sure. And to be honest with you, I thought he was a huge key to coming away with that victory against Newport. I know
absolutely.
Duff went off, but Keegan
he's going to.
Right, exactly.
Right,
and we knew that. We knew we weren't going to be able to stop him. We said we need to make him and Beeline every single shot that they take. We just need to make it tough on them.
Yeah.
And I thought Keegan, who probably didn't get the accolades as everybody else, did a phenomenal job this year. And I agree with you. And I'm super excited for Keegan that he was able to be Keegan. And he didn't have to kind of live underneath, obviously, Nick's shadow. And Keegan could just be Keegan this year.
Yep.
He did it on the gridiron. He did it on the hardwood. And I'm excited for him.
Yeah. So shout out to young Keegan there. We're going to be back in a little bit. Tom Prince is coming in with Jay Hawk and Ethan Fry. And then after that, Micah Davis is here also from Fredonia. So we'll be back after word from our sponsor. You're watching WNY Athletics High School Sports Saturday.
Western New York Immediate Care's new locations are now open. Whether you've suffered a minor injury or just aren't feeling well, Western New York Immediate Care provides safe, quick, high-quality care at an affordable cost. Our clinicians are trained to diagnose and treat non-life-threatening injuries and illnesses and are equipped with on-site x-ray and labs to help you feel better, faster. With 4 convenient locations open 7 days a week, Western New York Immediate Care is here to help when and where you need us. Visit us online to learn more.
Do you insure a lot of businesses?
Yes, we do.
How about restaurants?
We got a bunch.
Do you cover property damage?
Yes, we do.
How about my equipment?
Covered.
How about sewer backup?
We got it.
What if my cook gets hurt?
They're covered.
Foodborne illnesses?
Covered.
What if my party tent goes down?
Covered under property damage.
And you say this is all under one policy?
One policy.
When do I pay?
Once a month.
Just one time?
Just one.
Is there anything you don't cover?
What's your record for consecutive questions asked?
31.
Tables. We don't do tables.
Gotta love Buffalo.
For all your insurance questions, call the Wolf at 835-WOLF.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics. Call our Buffalo office today for an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs.
I love being home.
There's nothing better than owning the perfect house to come home to. You've earned it, and we'll make it happen. Our local real estate experts and in-house team of financial professionals make buying or selling your home simple. Howard Hanna. Home happens here.
I love being home.
Welcome back. A high school sports Saturday. We're going to have Tom Prince next. But first, we do have an update from Hudson Valley. Panama's amazing season comes to an end. They lose 78-56 to Hammond in the Class D semifinal. 2 teams still alive. Randolph girls playing, I think, at 12:30, and the boys are playing for the Class C championship at 5:15. Both games on the NFHS network. But Tom, I'm going to turn it over to you. Tell us who we now have in studio.
So obviously you've already met Coach as he was on the last segment with Frank. Now joined us next is Jay Hawk, and then we've got Ethan Fry right here that's joined us. Jay committed to go to Buff State next year, correct? Still working on the decision process yourself right now. So let's start talking as the team, right? When I did a podcast, right, for Section 5 at one point, and they asked me to talk about you guys. And what I said about you guys was I felt that you were one of the true teams that really were here in Western New York that were at this point at the sectional finals, right? Because there were 4 of you that were over double digits in scoring that were out there, right? 4 guys in double digits, and the scoring could come from any one of you at any time, right? In fact, we talked about the sectional finals. The MVP goes to White, right, is where the MVP came from. And when I asked people about it, they said that was his best game of the year. So you guys were peaking at the right time, obviously. So first what I want you guys to do, talk about the team. And really you're the point guard out there, right? So you're the point guard leading the team. How did you know to be able to feed the hot guy? Because the hot guy could have been different every single night.
Honestly, like, just pull it up a little bit. Like you said, like, the hot guy was really anybody. Like, the defense, whatever they took away, we were just going to the guy that they left open, because you can't guard all 4 of us. I mean, if you wanted to take me and Jay out the equation, you got to stop Davion and Mike Hahn. And Mike Hahn, everyone knows who he is. He's probably the best shooter in section. Like,
he can hit the threes. There's no doubt he can hit the threes. And he was hitting them early at Buff State, which is very hard to do on top of it.
And if you want to take him away, then that just leaves the paint open for, the 3 big guys to go eat, especially this dog right here. Like, if you can get him one-on-one in the post, like, we love that matchup 10 out of 10 times. Like, it's hard to stop a team where we can score inside, outside, like, mid-range, like, three-level scoring team. Those teams are hard to stop.
Well, personally, you're not the typical point guard when we talk about, you know what I'm saying, the height and somebody in high school basketball, right? College basketball all the time, you see the bigger guy, right? But you're normally the bigger guy that's out there on the floor as a point guard. So you can go down low or be able to hit the 3 or dribble penetrate, right? Talk about your game and really how it's evolved from all those 3 aspects.
Well, it's kind of just been a lot of hard work in, like, the summers and stuff. I mean, sophomore year I started off this guy in his driveway just getting shots up, and, like, my role was kind of just to be a shooter on the team. So obviously, like, the shots kind of just stayed, and, like, the roles have been switched throughout the years. Like, last year as a junior, I moved from kind of like just that shooter role to like a scorer role with Nick. Me and Nick were the 2 scorers last year, and then this year, like, I wasn't really like in the scoring role. It was kind of just to facilitate and like kind of be that point guard that we needed, because we had a bunch of people who could score the ball. And, like, I don't know, honestly, just like the off season, pairing with him all off season really helps, like, with scoring. I mean, we worked on the pull up game. That really elevated the game as well, because I mean, teams couldn't just back off and let me shoot anymore. Like,
right. I also thought that you've got a very quick first step, right? And that really is what gets you into the lane very quickly so you can penetrate to the glass, right? So talk about your, dribbling skills, because that really was a key to help you guys move along.
Honestly, I don't really do a lot of dribbling stuff. It's just like at the kids' camps, like, I'll just grab the basketball and I'll be playing like with a bunch of kids, and there'll be like 10, 12 of them trying to steal the ball, and I'll just like try doing some weird like combos and stuff, just see what I can get to not let the kids get the ball. And like, honestly, like, it sounds silly, but like it really helps with like the hand-eye coordination. Like, dribbling with 15 little kids around you trying to get a ball, like, you get pretty creative with the dribble moves, and like it definitely helps like in games, like at last second, like you need to make a quick move, like you can always revert back to those, and like it really helps, because like I said, like there's a bunch of little kids there, like it's easy to get around one dude opposed to 15 kids.
So Jay, let's talk about you down low a little bit, okay? So my guess is you'd much rather see a team play man-to-man against you versus the zone, because the zone is going to get help defense where you're going to not get that one-on-one matchups, right?
Yeah.
So we probably see, what did you see probably more of this year, the zone or the man-to-man defense-wise?
It was kind of a mix of zone and man, because like Ethan said and you said, we had 4 guys averaging over 10 a game, and then it didn't even stop there. We had 2 guys other than that were scoring at a pretty efficient rate. So it kind of just mattered what we were doing that day. I mean, if we were shooting really well, teams would go to man, and then if we expose them, like, it didn't really matter. Like, if it's in a zone and the help would come over, I would set a screen for the shooters coming on the other side, just to get them open looks, and then if I get a mismatch down low in the paint, then I'd take advantage.
Let's talk about some of the other players we're also alluding to. We haven't really done full names here, right? So we've already alluded to Davion White, right, which is huge. He comes up big in the sectional champions. I also thought he comes up big even later afterwards where you saw him in the crossover. I thought rebounding, he was unbelievable in that game. That's really where he stood out in that game. And then, we talked about Mike Hahn as far as a shooting standpoint, but folks, Ethan averaged 15.4 points per game, and these are rough. Like I said, as I understand, there may not be a game in there, but Davion was 13.9, Jay was 11.4, Mike Hahn was 11.7. One of the other players you're probably alluding to is Keegan Whitfield, who was averaging 4.3. And my guess is the other one is Ashton Putney right there, yes. Who was about 4 points per game also. And now when we say that's an average, folks, so there are games I'm sure they were in double digits. They did things to be able to get you out there. So I asked you guys before we came on, right? You are a 10 seed, right? So you're considered the Cinderella running into the tournament. I want to know at what point did you feel, we got this, like we can do this? Was it in one of the games? Was it before you got there? When did you guys really feel this is us?
Honestly, it was kind of day one, like that. That was the motto going into the season. Like we were there to get a blue patch. Like we wanted to bring the patch home, get the years up on the banners. Like we wanted to make history. Like that was the goal going into it all season, especially when football ended. Like we needed to come out with the blue patch senior year, so that was the goal going into the year.
I mean, of course, yeah. We thought from day one that we were that team, and the motto was to begin with the end in mind. The end was obviously a sectional championship, and then obviously we had higher aspirations once we got further, but we looked at the bracket and we looked at the film. Like we could compete with every single team there. It was a matter of if we wanted to work as a team, dive on loose balls, and do the little things to get the job done, which we did, and we got rewarded for it.
All year long, Newport was talked about as the best team in Western New York when it came to small schools. Hands down, right? It was talked about all year. You go into that game, what did you think you had to do to be able to win that game?
We just had to do little things, like Jay said. Like we had to dive on those 50-50 balls. We had to go after every rebound, and like we just had to be gritty on defense. Like Duff, like we knew he was going to score points. We knew Valentine was going to score points, but we had to limit him. We had to like lock down on defense, kind of give them that second chance opportunities, because that's really where they thrive. Duff and Valentine would throw up shots. Their other like role players get rebounds, and that's where they scored most of their points were on second chances. So if we limited their second chances, we were going to win that game.
Same thing?
Yeah, just little things and not being caught over. I mean, Duff was a great player. He scored 2,000 points in his career.
Listen, Beeline was a shooting phenomenon also, right, here in Western New York?
Yeah, two great players, and great players are going to make great shots. So not getting discouraged over one possession and just moving on to the next play, take it one play at a time. Don't look at the scoreboard, because we went down early in that game. I don't think we got our first points until 2 minutes, 40-some seconds in the first quarter. So it's just sticking to what we do, trusting each other and trusting our training.
Nice. Coach, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Very rarely can you get a team to buy in that everyone has a role, right? It's tough, right? Because you want to be, I want to be the star, I want to be recognized, I want to play at the next level, whatever the reasons are, right? Talk about what you had to do as a coach to really get everyone to buy into the team concept to do what you guys did this year.
Every year I try and kind of, I don't want to say construct a theme, but, kind of identify over the summer where we're headed, what we need to do to be successful. And this year, it was row the boat. When you think about rowing, everyone needs to be in sync. And everybody needs to do their job, their part, to be able to complete the task, complete the mission, complete the race. And we talked about that you don't need to do too much, you don't need to do too little, you just need to do your job. And we needed to do it all together. And to be honest with you, anytime you set that up, it's easier said than done. But when you have phenomenal young men and with character that they do, and they bought in, they put it into practice. And we embraced it. And, like we talked about at the beginning of the year, going back to the water and boat mantra, we knew there was going to be rough waters. We knew there was going to be races that we weren't in sync, but we knew it was going to be a long race, and that if we stuck together, that we'd be okay.
That's great. You're going to laugh, guys, but I've been a manager in pharmaceuticals for years, right? And I had a regional manager that used to use that mantra right there, row the boat, to be able to get his team together and try to go after goals. So it's so funny. It's not only an analogy for sports, it's an analogy for just about anything you can do in life, which is, I think it's awesome to hear Coach use that exact analogy right there. So before we get into the last game, okay, and I'm going to let you guys talk about that in a second. I got to hear this story again, okay? So folks, you got to hear this story. I think this is awesome, okay? So we're sitting out ready to come in. I actually go to Ethan. I go, Ethan, how did you get that underneath your eye right there? And he goes, oh boy, that's a story. So I think he needs to tell that story right now because it is classic, you guys. I'm going to tell you right now, this is a great one.
I've never heard this.
Oh, so
Tom, I'm excited too.
You're going to like this one. This is good.
You're in for a treat. So, far in the day, when I was a young lad, 5, 6 years old, it's my birthday. The new Amazing Spider-Man had just came out. I'm excited. I got my Spider-Man costume on. I got the little web shooters I had the whole 100 yards. Like everything you could want, I had. And, I thought it was a bright idea after I watched this movie to, try and be Spider-Man. And I was on my mom's bed. I shot a web, stuck to the wall. I was like, the web can stick to the wall, so can I. I tried doing a backflip and sticking to the wall. And the only thing that stuck was my face to the windowsill and, the blood all over the carpet. But, at the end of the day, we came out, it's a pretty cool scar, cool story, and, a lesson that I can't stick to the wall.
My question is, who was the first person, because this is your birthday party, right?
No, it was after the movie.
So obviously he must have already opened up his gifts and everything because that was his gifts right there.
Yeah, no, so who was the first person that found you? Did they just walk in and you were on the floor?
No, me and my sister were in the room together playing, and I didn't feel it at first. I just felt blood. I didn't know it was blood. I didn't know what it looked like, and then I looked at her and her jaws to the ground, screaming in terror because her little brother's covered in blood all over her face. And then I go in the bathroom and I look at it and it looked like massacre. It was bad. Thought I was done for. Little 5-year-old me thought it was the end of short life. Thought we were calling it wraps there, but
Oh, that's a great story. I kept saying, right when he told it, I go, you're telling that story, just so you know. But let's, on a serious note, I know it's not the way you guys wanted to end the season, okay? And I know it's, no matter what us as adults are going to say, hey, it's a great learning moment, right? Hey, we want to, you're going to be better for this in the long run. I don't care what cliche you want us to say. Understand it was it was rough, and I don't care who you are, very tough to take on. There are a lot of people who have seen it. There are a lot of people who haven't seen what happened. Why don't you kind of walk us through the end of that game right there, and in your eyes, what you saw?
Okay, so you had the pass to Mike in the corner, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we had the ball with probably 10 seconds left. Ethan takes the ball up the court.
Tie game.
Tie game, 51-51, right? Ethan gets the ball, passes it to Agent Zero in the corner. He hits the three. And there's 3.7 seconds left or something like that, maybe 4 seconds. Small amount of time. Timeout was called. We're ready to go, right? Get out of the timeout. They throw it to half court, get the ball at half court, then they get their timeout, their last timeout. So they're out of timeouts.
After having a 5-second call that they got bailed out of.
Maybe.
And so now it's 3.1 left on the clock, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
3.1 left on the clock. They're inbounding it on the sideline. And there was a throw to the other sideline because the kid I was guarding, he went up to go for the ball and it got tipped. So the other kid that saved it tried to save the ball and threw it. And I got the ball and I just chucked it down the court because, there's 3 seconds left. I'm like, that's 3 seconds. That's the end of the game. I didn't even know the whistle was blown because everyone kept playing. And I didn't know till after. kind of huddled up the coaches, and I kind of just peered in the coaches meeting just to see what was going on, because I was curious too. But, you know, so it ended up being an inadvertent whistle. One of the referees had thought the kid was out of bounds. He wasn't. So they ended up getting the ball back, and they hit the 3 to tie the game. And then after that, they won in overtime.
Now, so everybody can visually see it. So if the court is we're on the far side of the court, right? And obviously the other side of the court would be away from us. The ref that blows the whistle is away from us, is clear across the other side of the court. The guy that's trying to save it is right on our side at this point. And he saves it, doesn't go out of bounds, but the whistle gets blown. It's blown right about the time you catch it is what it is, and then throw it, right? It's about the time the whistle gets blown. So then they bring them back and play it again. And from what I understand, no time came off the clock, though. It was still 3.1 seconds put up on the clock. So they come in, and he's got time to make a couple moves right there to be able to put up his 3, and then puts up the 3 for the win. But there were, you know, a multitude of things that really you look back as there was mistakes, right? Obviously. So you come out of that one, right? What are you feeling at this point?
Honestly, it's not really something that I've still really wrapped my head around yet, because, like, as much as people want to say Newark moved on, like, we should be playing at Glen Falls right now. Like, we won that game. If we would have just straight up lost that game, like, props to them. If we got outplayed, we got outplayed. But I don't know, it's definitely a rough way to end the season, especially with the run we were having. I mean, the family bond that was going on, like, it was a special team that we had, and we were definitely looking to make some noise in the Final Four, but unfortunately, we can't.
And in that game, I want to say the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, you were down by 7 or 8 every single quarter is what it was, right? The fourth quarter is when you make the run. Jay, talk about the run you had to make just to get back into this game.
Just little things again. That was, I mean, you're playing tough teams. The teams we played before that was Salamanca and Newport, so teams are going to make their run. It was our turn to make a run. So our run consisted of 3-pointers. a lot of 3-pointers. But I mean, getting stops on the other end too.
Keep talking.
Guys stepping up, getting some rebounds, getting block shots, everything, just to get the ball rolling for us, and then, you know, we had the lead.
So, Coach, obviously a heavy senior team right here, right?
Yeah.
With some leaders. So, talk about what you're going to need to do next season to replace these leaders that you've got here sitting right here.
I don't think I can replace either of these guys. You know, it's bittersweet. You know, we acknowledge the fact that game wasn't won or lost on that shot. There was plenty of things that we could have done on the defense or the offensive end to maybe not be in that situation. But one of the nice things since I've been a part of Fredonia basketball is we haven't had to rebuild. We've sort of reloaded. And again, there's no way that you can replace either one of these two, just like some of the guys who've come before them. You just hope that this run and what we stand for, not only as young men, but as basketball players, with the grit, the toughness, and just the never give up, never give in attitude, is now emulated by the future Fredonia boys basketball players to be able to carry on what Fredonia boys basketball is all about. That tradition, that toughness, that grittiness, and you know, to do some really special things in the future.
My last question for you guys, okay? We alluded to, I've talked about this in a lot of broadcasts. People don't understand the seedings and how you get seeded, right? I understand you guys came in as a 10 seed, but I try to explain to this is people don't get that a 10 seed may not really be a 10 seed, right? Just as, you know, a 3 seed may not be what it is. I actually thought when you look at what you guys play in a conference-wise this year, it was one of the toughest conferences to play in. Talk about how conference play got you ready for this run.
Conference play, like you said, we play in a really tough conference. I mean, we have a little bit of everything in all of our conference. Like, every team has that just stud, like that scorer that can do it all. Most of them have, like, you know, that gritty player that can get the boards. I mean, like, there wasn't a clear-cut, like, team in our league. I mean, Salamanca, obviously, they weren't undefeated, but, like, it was still tough games whenever they played. Like, nothing was easy in our league, and I feel like that definitely prepares us for playoffs because, like, a lot of these teams that get these high seeds, like, they play in, like, city leagues, and, like, no hate on city leagues, but I don't feel like they're the caliber of our league. I feel like our non-league schedule really prepares us for the playoffs too, because we play a lot of A schools, a lot of like bigger schools really prepare us for this, and like honestly playing those tough opponents like in the regular season prepares us for when the times to get tough in the playoffs, like Salamanca's, the Newports. Like when you got to play those teams, you got to revert back to old habits, and if your habits are playing against, you know, easier competition, it's not going to be good for you. So thankfully this guy over here, you know, likes scheduling some pretty tough opponents and, you know, gets us prepared for all our games.
Well, listen, we talk about that, I think, kind of over and over through all the coaches, right? I could go up and down. Like you look at, you know, AA. Look at what Coach Bradbury did with Niagara Falls. He took them all over the state to get them ready for what he was trying to do, right? Look at what Newport did, right, which is another school like you, playing a lot of the Monsignor Martin teams to prepare for this run, to be able to go after what they needed to do. We talk about health sciences year after year, what Ty Parker does and why he's so successful. So we really talk about, we believe, is when you challenge a team through your schedule, usually success is going to come about of it because it gets you ready for exactly what you guys tried to do. So Jay, same thing, right? But I'm going to turn the question a little bit for conference play. Talk about how it personally got you ready to be able to play in some of these big games.
Personally, I mean, I was the big man all year. It was my job to get the rebounds, offensive and defensive. I mean, everyone else stepped up, but like I'm mainly the one down low. So playing against big kids, league and non-league. I mean, scheduled a non-leaguer, played against a guy from Pennsylvania. Went D1. He's D1 commit, West Virginia offensive lineman. He's like 6'5", 300.
And he's built. It's not a,
yeah,
you know.
it's, yeah.
He wouldn't be going D1 if he wasn't, right?
Yeah.
So how'd you do?
I think we each had 10 points. So I think that was the beginning of the year too. I mean, great player he is, but I mean, even when it comes to league, you're playing against really good people who are athletic, probably more athletic than me, more skilled than me, but it just teaches you to work harder. You know, if you want something in life, you're going to get it if you work hard enough. So you just got to work super hard during league, and then fruits of your labor pay off in the playoffs.
Okay. Senior year, right? Obviously, season's now done. What's your wrap-up on the season?
It's definitely something to be really proud about. I mean, we rewrote the history books for Fredonia basketball. I mean, we were the first team to make it to a Far West Regional game since the '94 team. Unfortunately, we didn't have the same outcome as them and get the chance to play at Glen Falls, but I mean, that's not something that you get to do a lot. Like, making it that far, especially as a 10 seed, it was more than just like basketball games at that point. We were putting on for a community, and like the youth, like they looked up to us, and like we were making a difference in like a lot of people's lives, and it definitely feels good to know that like we as a whole, as a team, like impacted so many people's lives just by the run that we had playing basketball and enjoying high school, you know.
Good job, Jay. Put your wrap.
Yeah, I mean, of course, what he said, like state championship, like competing for it would have been awesome. Far West Regional is awesome, but I mean, you can't really sum up how I can go walk in the hallway, and because of all that time I spent doing rec after practice on Saturdays, helping with the little kids, like everyone being, oh, hi Jay, like you had a great season. I mean, when we lost in the Far West Regionals, there was a family waiting just to get a picture with me because their kids wanted a picture with me, and I stayed late. Like, my parents said, have you seen Jay? And they said, no, we're waiting for him too. And I think the picture of that is the lady's Facebook profile picture now. So, I mean, stuff like that, you can't really put, I don't know, you can't put a price on it. I mean, the connections you make with your brothers on the team, and then what you do for the community, I think that's what defines success, not everything else on the court.
I got to be honest with you guys. that right there, just the way you two just surmised everything, really just shows what true class athletes you guys really are. You guys could have come in here and you had the avenue, right? I even gave it to you, where you could have just ruined and wrecked everything, had anything to do with that last game. And you just told me facts is all that you told me, right? And then that was it. And now you're actually talking about your community and what you guys have done as leaders, how this team has come together, how your family. Man, I am more impressed than ever right now listening to what you guys just did here. And like I said, is everyone would take different avenues right there, and you guys really showed that you've not only taken the step as leaders of teams, but you are true young men out there that we really want in this community, because the future is bright for both of you. There's no doubt about it. So, Coach, I'm going to give you one last chance. You want to put a bow on it?
This week's been tough. You see people in school, you see people throughout the community, families, students, teachers, friends, and they talk about the game. But it's kind of been tough. You're thinking, yeah, we had a really great season, and there's a lot to be thankful for, but I think it really hit me this morning when I stopped to get some fuel and get a coffee, and I had 3 different people that I don't know, that aren't part of the Fredonia basketball program, just come up to me and say, hey, Coach, great season. So proud for you and your guys, what you're able to accomplish. We know it didn't end the way you wanted it to, but the grace and the humility that you had, says a lot. And, for these guys too, I was thinking about this the other day too, these guys were part of the 2021 team that won sectionals during COVID in our home gym. And that was one of the most special, cool things ever, because it's never been done. All sectionals have been held at neutral sites, and we got to go up and cut the nets down. But for them, their senior year now, to be able to have that experience and opportunity to play at Buff State, to win at Buff State, and to do some really special things, it's all kind of starting to sink in. And that frown that I've kind of had, and that that pit in my stomach is starting to kind of turn around. And it's just nice to look back and enjoy these fond memories, not only with these guys, but everybody on the team.
Western New York, I hope everyone gets a chance to hear this interview, because this truly is a class act right here. And I couldn't be more impressed, more proud to have talked to you guys today. You guys should really understand really what you bring to the table. Just so unbelievable impressed of what the future really holds for you guys, because it's going to be bright. It really is. And the one thing I always ask in these things is, when you go on to that next level, just make sure we hear about it, okay? Because we're still going to be preaching you guys, whether you're in high school or not, because you've been a part of the Western New York community. So thank you guys for everything you've done.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So let's take a quick break right here, Francis, as we still got one more segment to go. We're going to go off down to hockey, as we're going to stick in Fredonia, but this time we're going to go talk hockey.
Does he do car?
Forget about it.
How about home?
Forget about it.
Does he get good rates?
Forget about it.
And you're saying there's no problem too big for this guy?
Forget about it. Paul, this is Johnny, the guy we've been talking about. Johnny, this is Paul Wolf.
Mr. Wolf, it's nice to meet you. Thank you for the invite.
Not a problem. It's Paul, not Mr. Wolf.
Oh, sorry, Paul.
Johnny, forget about it. For all your insurance needs, call 835-WOLF. And...
Avoiding care can lead to worse problems. Don't delay care. We're here for you.
When you're ready to buy a home, start your search at howardhanna.com. You'll be the first to see new listings, find similar properties, and connect with a local Howard Hanna agent. Get started today at howardhanna.com.
All right, welcome back, High School Sports Saturday. In a little bit, we're going to have Frank Wolf with Micah Davis out of Fredonia, talk some hockey. Meanwhile, while Frank's still trying to get himself together, even though he already had like 15 minutes, but that's another story. some updates here again. We know Glen Falls and in Troy are the girls and boys basketball championships. Update this morning. We had Panama fall in their Class D semifinal, 78-56 to Hammond. Yesterday, the Randolph boys won. They were going into the final tonight, 5:15. The Randolph girls, they're going to tip off in about a little less than 2 hours in their game. See if I can pull up who they're going to face. Those games, of course, on the NFHS network. Yeah, Randolph girls are going to face Union Springs. That's 12:30 in their semifinal. And then Randolph boys are going to face Haldane in the Class C championship game out in Glens Falls. So watch out for that. Of course, the big news, as Frank Wolf decides to delay even more, is, of course, the Section 6 football schedule came out last night. We put that out at midnight, so watch out for that. So check out that. A lot of really good games in the schedule. We talked about that earlier. So keep an eye out for that. I'm going to have my first thoughts on that schedule coming out next week. You'll be able to see that on West New York Athletics. Probably get that out either Monday or Tuesday this week. Kind of got my thoughts on it. Interesting matchups, interesting trends in there. What or maybe could happen this season in that one. Certainly watch out for that. Coaches, baseball, softball coaches, we're going to be sending out our preseason questionnaire soon, as well as lacrosse, girls and boys lacrosse. So watch out for those. Any coaches watching, watch for those in your inbox this week as well as we get started on our spring season. Get started in spring season. Of course, let me think. Yeah, the weather is kind of getting in the way of that, although now it looks like things have cleared up. And, of course, girls flag football kicking off. We talked about that at the beginning. They're going to be starting games, it looks like, around the 15th or so of April. So watch out for that. I'm going to have a story on that next week, later in the week, talking about what to expect for year 2 of Section 6 girls flag football. So a lot to look forward to. I guess I'll have to take another break before I can get Frank Wolf in. Micah Davis to talk about what Micah Davis is doing coming up in the future for him. So you're watching High School Sports Saturday on WNY Athletics.
With exclusive buyer insights and our 100% money-back guarantee, we're confident we'll find buyers for your home. Howard Hanna. Home happens here.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics. Call our Buffalo office today for an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs.
Sometimes it just isn't your day. We all need a little help from time to time. That's why we're committed to providing safe, quick, and cost-effective pediatric care. And we keep it simple. Just walk in. We're here for you. Learn more today.
Welcome back to High School Sports Saturday. I'm back with a couple more Fredonia legends in the making. Micah Davis and his dad Shannon, who's like the voice of Fredonia football and does a lot of the basketball color down there and stuff like that. So happy to have you guys in studio today. I know that you guys brought the snow with you.
Oh, it's cleared up a little.
It cleared up now, but did you guys have a whiteout coming up here? Tom comes in from Orchard Park. He was complaining about the snow. Was it that bad?
The roads were clear. It was fun.
See, I told you. He's such a wimp when it comes to snow.
That's why he lives in the South Towns. That's what he gets for living there.
I know. And then here's you wearing shorts today, I bet. You are. You're wearing shorts.
Why would I wear pants? It's like 40 degrees out there.
What's going on with Panama?
Panama did lose. That was the last update. They lost to Hammond, and if you were here, you would have noticed that. I gave that update to the audience. The final score on that one was 78-56.
I was late for the final segment of the day, but
yeah, you only had like 20 minutes to get ready.
So Micah younger brother of Simon, who is also at Fredonia now down at Washington Jefferson. He's is he not playing for Sirianni?
He is playing.
Yeah, there's a head coach. Yeah, Mike Sirianni.
I think Mike's the oldest brother.
Now, did you guys get Super Bowl tickets? Does that
did not.
See? If I was a Super Bowl coach, I would have sent tickets to everybody. My brother, his football players. So, Nick, get with the program. Next time you're in the Super Bowl, Nick, spread the wealth, buddy.
Mike and his whole family was down there, though. There's all sorts of pictures of Mike's kids and stuff down on the field and everything.
Yeah.
So.
Jay's not too happy with us this morning, by the way, for releasing the schedule. You published it.
You're the one who told me to do it.
You hit publish,
I have
right?
the text messages.
All right. Jay, we got the schedule. Don't be mad at us for publishing it. The people wanted to know the schedule. I mean, we get flooded with emails. And nobody died as a result of us publishing the schedule. Anyways, by the way, Fredonia opens up against Randolph.
It should be a fun game to watch.
Is that that's a CD matchup, is it not?
Yes.
Yeah, CD non-leaguer. Micah had a hell of a football season. All the way to the stadium again. Well, for the first time, right?
No.
For you?
No.
You? Oh, yeah. Oh, remember that?
Yeah, back-to-back losses.
Oh, that was rough.
No, we did bring the snow that day.
Yes.
2 years ago.
Yeah, Francis, I think he almost wiped out. Well, you know what? You guys almost won that game against Medina because Francis almost took out the school bus on the way there. Remember when you were driving in that blizzard?
When you were driving.
We almost took out the Medina bus. I'll never forget. It was right around the 400.
Frank.
They were behind us. They were behind us, and I was cutting in front of them to take the 219 down. And I think I probably got in the lane a little too late, and the bus driver was not happy with us whatsoever. We didn't have WNY Athletic stickers on the truck that day, thank God. Anyways, yeah, it wasn't a good...
He keeps saying we, like I have anything to do with this.
You were talking my ear off, distracting me. I missed the exit. Anyways, yeah, it wasn't a great day. The weather, I think the weather contributed a lot. But you guys did get some revenge because this past year you beat them.
We played them to go to the Ralph this year.
We haven't had you on or really talked to you since that, but I think you had an instrumental play in that game, if you remember. Do you remember?
Sure.
Yeah, talk about it. What happened?
Are you talking about the final play for
Yeah.
the first down?
Yeah.
We called our timeout. We were trying to figure out what to do.
Were you on the field before that?
No.
Like there was confusion. Like Ethan came to the sideline and said, "Would you get Mike out here, please?"
We had our power set in, so I was out, and we figured they were gonna stack it up on the inside, and we were like, let's run our pitch with Micah, and we trusted our big left tackle Matt Cash. It was gonna be one-on-one with the blocker. He pushed him out. I ran up the middle, dove for the first down, and it was game.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to see that, and I love Medina too. No disrespect there, but it was a nice moment for Fredonia because I know you guys wanted to get over that hump and to get back to the Section 6 championship. And one way to do that, you had to slay an old demon, and you guys got the job done that day. In the winter, though, you play hockey.
Yes.
Which is a club sport at Fredonia. I always get annoyed that it's not considered a varsity sport.
Yes.
So I'm here to tell you, you are a varsity athlete in the winter.
Thank you.
And congratulate you because you were given 2 prestigious awards.
Yes.
Why don't we talk about them? The first one was the Derek Klein Memorial Scholarship, and I think we talked about this. You're the only second recipient to receive that.
This is the second year.
So what was that like? Did you know you were up for that?
Well, it was an application that I filled out for the scholarship, and it was just really awesome, getting to meet Derek Klein's dad, Bill, Mr. Klein. He came and met me when I went to because it was at the Sabre Stadium. Got to go out on the ice for one of the games there. It was just awesome. It was an awesome moment. It was a big moment for his dad. His wife was there too. I got to meet her. It meant a lot to them,
Yeah.
and I'm honored to be able to
Yeah.
represent what.
Well, Michael, why don't you tell the story about how you turned in your application for that scholarship?
That's a good story. So I didn't look at the dates for the scholarship, and I obviously had to be in Grand Island. So if we mailed it, it wouldn't have been there in time. So me and 2 of my buddies, from Fredonia, drove the hour up to Grand Island to deliver it. and the mailbox, it was a lock box, and it was locked. So right above the mailbox, there was a thumbtack board. So I had my application in a big envelope. There were thumbtacks in the board. Took it, pinned it to the board right above the mailbox.
That had to show them something.
Right.
The
day
that's
that
pretty
it was
cool.
due.
That's a cool story, and someone should have wrote about that. That's pretty cool how it came to light. So you take home the Derek Klein Memorial Scholarship, and just recently you were named the Mark Stager Award winner, and that's an honor by the North Chautauqua County Youth Hockey Association in memory of Mark Stager, who was a coach there. That's given to a player who brings the enthusiasm, dedication, respect, and spirit, and has a passion for the game. And you're the honor this year. You had been nominated before as a younger age. Just talk about what it means to finally winning that one.
It's just a great honor to be able to represent the organization as a whole that I've played many years for and many hours, and
So Francis weaseled out of this last segment here. Francis and I will get into it often about the differences between Fed hockey and club hockey. And I notice how Francis Beck, who can hear me, who's not paying any attention and should be producing this last segment, by the way, he weaseled out of this last segment because I would like you to explain to him that because it's club does not mean it's not competitive high school hockey.
Yes.
So he's not here to hear it in real time, I don't think, but he is going to see this. So can you please explain to the Francis Becks of the world that club hockey is just as good as Fed hockey?
Yes, I know you're very passionate about this. It's very good competition. There's still good teams, and it's just it's a different level of school and a different level of program.
Yeah. So like Starpoint came into the Fed, I want to say five seasons ago. They have won 3 of the last 4 Section 6 championships. They've represented Section 6 in the playoffs, Far West Regionals, what have you, and they've made the section very proud. They got to the state finals at least once that I can remember, possibly twice, once for sure, and they were just a club team not long ago. Orchard Park, they have so many kids there, they can't put them on one team, so they have another team, and it happens to be club. St. Joe's has so many school teams that they can have, so if you have tryouts, and their Fed program is pretty darn good. It's no shame not being able to make the St. Joe's Fed team, so you play on the white team, or maybe is it white, maroon, and what have you, but there's a lot of guys on that white or maroon that can step on the ice for a lot of public schools and be their top line.
Yes. And then,
so
those are the teams that we're playing at club.
Yeah. Now, what was your favorite moment of playing hockey this year? Just talk about the way the season went for you, and help me understand. Does Fredonia partner with any other schools to form a team, or is it just the Fredonia team?
Yeah, we have a lot of schools in the area because there are a lot of schools like Fredonia who don't have a hockey team directly with the school, so they'll come to our organization that runs the high school hockey team. It's probably like 6 or 7 schools. It's
Okay.
Dunkirk, Silver Creek, Pine Valley, Chautauqua Lake. Am I missing anything?
Maple Grove? Like a Maple Grove or
plays for
Eden?
this, Jamestown team.
Eden may have their own team.
Eden does. They're combined. They're a mixed team as well, I believe.
Okay.
Out that way, they play with
Lakeshore?
Lakeshore, Eden. Yeah, that's a team.
North Collins,
Yep,
maybe.
Yep, out that
so
area.
we haven't now. Years ago, true story. When we first started doing this, we had talked to club about doing some stuff, and flat out, Francis and I got an email from the guy running it saying, "We've got the Buffalo News. We're good." And we're like, "Okay, all right." So that's why we said we're not doing club. Flat out, the guy who runs it, and I still have the email, said flat out, "We've got the Buffalo News covering us. We're good, and we have our own website."
And what a shame. I mean, honestly, you guys have brought so much to Western New York and shared so many memories and let families from around the country be able to watch the game and moments like this to give some athletes some notoriety and great experiences, and to turn that down is just it makes no sense.
I know, but yes. Yeah, we were annoyed with that, but this is where like sometimes adults make the wrong decisions, and honestly, we made a mistake too. We should have just said, well, we can go wherever we want and cover it, high school sports wherever we want. We don't need your permission. We should have just done it anyways. So I'm here to apologize to you and all the other club players out there for not being a voice or an outlet for you guys to bring what you guys do to light. So going forward, we will make a conscious effort to not only cover what's going on at the club level, we will stream games at the club level next season. So unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to see you, but we did hear about what you were able to do for your team, being a solid contributor. So sorry we didn't get to stream any of your games. I'm apologizing to you like a man. We will be out there in the future. Where do you guys play your games? At the college?
Yes,
or
we play at the college. Yeah.
I had a buddy that played at Fredonia State, but it was the club team. They did a lot of partying.
Yeah.
So they were on the actual team. Now, Shannon, down during the fall, I catch you often as part of your broadcast. You guys do a great job down there.
Thank you.
So who could see it? Like, is it just public access? Like, we wouldn't be able to actually see your games unless we have like a specific link or something.
It will be on like the Fredonia, if you're doing a Fredonia game, the Fredonia Public Access channel.
Okay.
But we also live stream all our broadcasts on YouTube as well.
Okay.
So if you go to Fredonia Access, you can go right on YouTube and type in Fredonia Access. You're going to be able to find all the games for years now that I broadcasted and Mike has played in, his brother's played in, and it's a lot of fun. It's a way I used to always coach, gave that up. I do stats, but this is a low pressure way that I've been able to be part of the kids I watched grow up and coach when they were little. Grew up with my boys, best friends, kids, my sons. It's been a lot of special moments, and I'm a little part of it. It's a lot of fun.
It is, and I'm kind of retired from doing the play-by-play and color for high school football because I don't know the game well enough to break down things, and we've been very lucky to have guys like Tom Prince and Paul Catrona, Tim Chifa, other guys step up, Jimmy Craig, guys that really know the game of football that can break things down for the viewer. I only did it because we didn't have anyone else. Now that I could retire from that, we have guys that actually know what they're talking about. And Shannon, if you're available, we would love to have you work on some of our streams in the near future to help us add to that lineup that we already have of guys that know what the hell they're talking about and get guys like me up there.
Yeah.
So we'd love to have you.
Might disagree with that, but
no, we love it. We love it.
I'd love to. That'd be a lot of fun. I'm going to be an empty nester next year.
I know.
My boys are 15 months apart, and they're both going to be playing college football, so I will be hopefully traveling to watch them play on the weekends too. But whenever I'm available, I would love to be part of broadcasts or shows or anything. I really enjoy it.
Sweet.
It keeps me involved in high school sports after having a reason to be involved.
So are you going to have to flip a coin on Saturdays if Utica's home or if Washington Jefferson's home? How are you going to do this?
I don't know.
Who do you love more?
It depends who did their chores this week.
There you go.
I switch back and forth and tell which one's my favorite son a lot, depending on who's being nicer that day. I definitely, it's going to be, selfishly, Mike actually almost went to Washington Jefferson to play with his brother.
You would have saved a lot of gas money for the old man. You know that, right?
It's been a lot easier in my life, but he made a great choice. Obviously, Utica's in a great school, too, and he felt that was the right spot for him.
Cool.
Unfortunately, it's 6.5 hours from one school to the other. So Dad's going to pull out a miles in the car this next fall.
Yeah.
Next 3 falls, hopefully.
Well, I've seen like Buff State play. I really wanted to see Buff State Cortland last year, but I think I had a previous engagement. I would have loved to seen Maddie Lauder come back and play, and Zach Boys, and there's a ton of kids from Cortland now, and Buff State.
Bitka is over
Ryan
there.
Bitka, yeah. So, but do you know Utica's schedule yet? Have you seen it, or how close they get?
It's posted. I don't know it by heart.
We'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
Would you play Morrisville?
We do play Morrisville.
You play Morrisville? Okay.
Yeah.
And you said Owen Cash?
Matt Cash.
Matt Cash?
Yeah.
Does he have a brother, Owen?
No, we have Owen Rush.
Owen Rush, okay,
the
that's
other
it.
tackle on the team.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right.
2 tackles.
But he's got another year to go.
Yes.
Yeah, so Matt Cash.
Yes, committed to Morrisville.
Committed to Morrisville, where Frericks is. I've seen a couple other kids commit to Morrisville recently, too, but I can't remember their names. There's too many kids in high school sports.
Jay Hawk,
So-
who obviously you guys just saw, I
Yep.
don't know if it was brought up, but he just committed to Buff State.
Yes,
Played
that's a
receiver
big
there.
that's a big signing for Buff State, if you ask me. Didn't he just come into
Yeah, he
started
played,
football
he
late?
played a little bit 1 year for JV, and then he didn't play his junior year, and he had a great summer. It was a lot
Yeah.
of fun, and you saw him on the basketball court too. He just works his butt
Yeah.
off, and he's not selfish. He's always been a team kid, and towards the end of the year, really playoffs, I think he finally got a little confidence and settled in, and he was instrumental in beating Medina. He had a great lost catch over in the end zone.
Yes.
Bailed Ethan out a little bit.
Yes.
on a bad throw.
That was it. The last one.
Yeah, no, that was
Or-
Navi White that caught the last one.
Was
but
that the first half? End of the first half, he had something.
I
When they
believe
started the
no,
comeback.
Sue had both the rushing I think our 2
Yeah.
touchdowns in the first half. So it would maybe third quarter.
Yeah.
When he caught that one.
Yeah, I remember that play. I
Yeah.
do remember that play. It was definitely a circus
But some
type play.
for Jay, and yeah, he really.
The Turning Stone is not far from there.
Absolutely.
That
Go
could be
right by
trouble.
it.
That could be trouble. But I wanted to thank you guys for coming in, and Micah, we wish you the best of luck as you on your collegiate career with all your high grades and fancy trophies. Nice sweatshirts of winning different scholarships and everything else. You had a fine high school career, and you got baseball coming up.
Yes.
Did Tom put Fredonia in the West New York Baseball Day lineup? I know the girls softball team is there. We got to check and see if the Fredonia boys are in it. But that's up in Niagara Falls, and we're going to be talking about that next week as we wrap this one up. Am I still on?
No, we actually the computer shut down.
Are you serious?
Yeah, the computer got wonky, so yeah.
I haven't been on the air for how long now?
Maybe like a minute.
Oh. Have a good night, everybody.